one sniper, now it's like 4.
Go on.
Oh! I'm literally gonna reopen my. Listen, I get shot in nuts. I'm not wrong.
Alright, what's going on, guys? It's Chad. Back here on the final night beta. It's like 1 a.m. at the moment. I got like 11 hours left on this thing. I'm afraid that by the time I, finish putting this together and everything, and then, go to sleep and stuff, I'm afraid that I might not be able to play much longer. So I figured I'll talk about this now. So I did this for the Vanguard beta, but I basically have an entire feedback video that I'm gonna do here, and I have no idea how long this video is gonna be. But it's not like I haven't talked about it. I figured Ground War would probably be the best one to do. Full disclosure, I was not a big fan of Modern Warfare 2019's design, and I am actually more of a fan of this game's design than I am over Modern Warfare 2019's. So let's have a bit of understanding of who you're listening to. I was not a fan of Modern Warfare 2019. I've said things that have very, very much angered the Modern Warfare fan base, but I like this one, so they shouldn't be too angry. The thing is, inherently, a lot of these feedback videos, people are gonna be, look how long the bad feedback spot is, but the reality of it is, whenever you like something, you don't necessarily need to talk about the changes that need to happen or anything like that. It's a lot easier to name off things that you like about something because you don't necessarily want anything to change, or you don't have like a massive amount of input past the point that you like this and you hope it stays. So one thing that I think everybody pretty much doesn't like altogether is the UI on the game. For whatever reason, the UI on this game is just an absolute mess. I don't really know what's up with it. I'm pretty sure this is part of the Warzone map. I mean, if I'm looking at all of this, I mean, this is just one side of the map, so that would probably be pretty shitty if you're landing out here, likely. That city over there is probably the new downtown. They got this whole like hill area. This is observatory, so yeah, this is a Warzone map. As a positive, I think map-wise, this game is absolutely incredible. I think the Ground War maps are actually pretty good, and I mean, overall, the multiplayer maps that I played, literally all of them, even the worst ones. Some people make an argument, it could be museum, it could be, whatever. Regardless of which one you pick, every single map that was in the beta for Modern Warfare 2 beta, literally is better than every single map that had ever come out on Modern Warfare 2019. It does make it a little bit more obvious in terms of like immersion and actually believing that the environment truly exists as like a realistic, livable area in terms of like the multiplayer maps anyway. The Warzone maps, see, like, look at this. I mean, we got like 3-4 flights of stairs. People love this shit. Ground War maps are a little bit more believable and you can clearly see the design difference, and I still even like this design more than the way that, the original Verdansk and even Caldera did in some ways. I think this map overall is going to be better than Caldera and Verdansk. I think it's going to have the best of both worlds. It's absolutely massive, and I hope the pace isn't really slow. So map design, big win. It was one of the biggest issues and one of the main reasons why I literally just played one map. To be fair though, I'm probably still just gonna spam one map, whichever one is like, most efficient or whatever I need to do for the mastery camo. I think the sound overall is an improvement over Modern Warfare 2019. I know everybody's talking about the volume and everything, and even I will explain that I do think Footsteps should be adjusted and everything, as it would be on my con list for sure. But overall, Footsteps, it could be worse. They did make adjustments, and it was worse before, and that's an improvement, but I still think it could be adjusted even more. If not, it is what it is. But overall though, the sounds, I do love it. A lot of noises over on the original Warzone and Modern Warfare 2019 had a lot of really grating, terrible sounds. Like whenever you got shot randomly over in Warzone and bullets would end up hitting the plates on your character, it would make this ridiculously loud ping noise that would just scare the shit out of me every single time. And it was a noise that, for whatever reason, I wish over in the audio settings you could actually adjust like a bunch of different dials. I really wish I could turn down some certain sound effects over others, but this game overall, I still wish that I had it, but at least this game does not hurt my head. Even though this game is absurdly loud, there's no sound that feels like it's way too loud for what it is, in terms of like actually scaring you anyway. There are definitely certain things that make noises that shouldn't make noises. Dead silence. But game modes are cool. I like the Ground War mode. I like the 6v6. I even like third-person mode. That's a surprise. I think the Gunsmith, even though everybody doesn't necessarily completely understand it, I think I have a pretty good understanding of how it works and everything. And depending on how the challenges are and everything, if I just look at it for what it is in terms of just unlocking things, don't even worry about the camos or anything. Bitch! you rat puss. See, that's a Warzone design right there. That building, only one way up, and he just lays there and stares at it. It's crazy. Clear design differences. Overall, I still think the Gunsmith is great. Love it. Definitely am happy that it's not like crazy over the top 10 attachments and stuff like that. Don't know if they're ever going to change that in the future or not, but for what it is, I like it. Although, I do think some of the attachments and stuff are kind of punishing for what they are, but we'll see, you know, once we actually get data and everything. Sniping, although it's really slow, does feel satisfying at least. Clarity on the game looks awesome. Graphically, it looks amazing. I have everything on as low as I could possibly have it, and then with the fidelity effects thing turned on for sharpness, and it looks so clear. Everything looks so good. I barely have to add any extra stuff on top of it, and although the visibility overall for like, you know, firing, visibility, smoke, things like that were a really big issue earlier, they have adjusted and it's been a lot better. Clarity wise, I mean, I've been seeing some people say that they don't see people when they're getting shot. I don't know what they're looking at, but I couldn't see people for shit on Warzone 1, Modern Warfare 2019. I even have trouble seeing people over on Cold War and shit at times. This game, I had no problem whatsoever being able to see players. I just have. To this day, I have a problem seeing people over on Modern Warfare 2019 and Warzone 1 and the original Warzone. I have a problem seeing it whether they're on Caldera, whether they're on Verdansk. It doesn't matter. This guy's really gonna kill me like this, huh? Just flies out here. That's his plan. I am genuinely looking forward to this. So when I go into this cons list, like, don't sit here and think that this is gonna be a year where, like, I absolutely hate the game and I'm gonna be miserable and it's gonna be like the same thing all over again where I was losing my mind with Obsidian and shit. It's not gonna be the same. It's genuinely not. I can sit there and pretend like it because genuinely a lot of people like to see that. They want to see me have like a meltdown. First of all, this game isn't bad enough for that. It's already better. What are these guys doing up here? What are these guys doing up here? They had this mine thing up here. Okay, so I'm imagining myself in Warzone right now. I mean, this is definitely a Warzone building. Like, I got up here, and I'm just gonna sit here and listen. That's how Warzone goes, right? Oh. I'm playing buybacks right now. That's a TTK in Warzone 2 as well. Get used to it. Considering this is a multiplayer beta, most of my feedback is gonna come in, you know, multiplayer form overall. This isn't supposed to be a dunk on Modern Warfare 2019 video or anything like that. It's just that it is literally its direct, you know, sequel. So it obviously takes, you know, inspiration from it. Guns feel great, sound great. A lot of them feel very familiar. Obviously running around with weapons that you already know. It's nice that immediately everything felt good and still familiar regardless of, you know, the slide cancel or not. A lot of people say positives, negatives. I'm still just kind of mixed on it, and I ultimately don't really care. I think overall having slide cancel in the game makes the game more sweaty, and it is a skill gap, but overall also it doesn't need that, and there are plenty of other skill gaps that can be created in different ways outside of this honestly ridiculous mechanic. It looks cool, it feels cool and everything, but it's not in the game, so there's really no point in going past that point. Going into the cons, I think that this perk system is completely pointless at this point, regardless of whether or not they try to make it any faster, any slower. It doesn't really matter regardless. I feel like they tried to reinvent something that they didn't need to, but I have felt this way about multiple things that they have messed with over the years for multiple games now. I'm happy that now everybody is, you know, trying to band together and stuff like that to try to, you know, make sure something doesn't happen, but I feel like all the time whenever I said this shit and I screamed to the heavens about shit being broken, other people just kind of like acted like it wasn't a big deal. But now since it's affecting Warzone, all of a sudden, there are so many people that were completely okay with multiplayer being just thrown under the bus and treated like absolute shit, and then everybody just laughs and scoffs at multiplayer modes like they're a joke and nobody cares anymore. Nobody streams multiplayer. It's the closest thing we have for multiplayer experiences is watching pro players and shit. And they're the best on the planet. There's just like no casual multiplayer shit out there. Perk system, stupid. I mean, we'll see over time how it goes, what they're gonna do with it, what they feel like they're gonna do, or even if they know what they're supposed to do. I feel like they're just gonna sit there, not know what to do with it, and just leave it how it is, at least at the moment. TTK is absolutely ridiculous. Because of the headshot multiplier in this game, so many fights feel so random. That happens mostly because you are flinching people into your own head. This game has flinch, so when you're aiming and trying to shoot at people, your gun ends up moving upwards, and in the process, especially since people are using controller, it's sticking to you while moving up. So it's actually readjusting the person's aim on you. If they were aiming at you center mass, they're hitting you in the head because you shot them. I don't even think the multiplier is the entire culprit either. I just think the TTK in general is still ridiculously fast even without it. Head silence for some reason makes a noise whenever you activate it. I don't know why. It's a clear nerf. It's really strange that they talk about trying to cater to all playstyles and then they have things that are blatantly in the game to slow down rushers, but there's nothing that's necessarily in the game to slow down campers. There are ways to flush out campers. While that is true, that's nice. I won't say that there are no tools, because absolutely this game in terms of camping is nowhere near as bad as Modern Warfare 2019 was. I'm not gonna hear anyone say that shit. This game has way more flow in 6v6 than Modern Warfare 2019 did, by a long shot. Modern Warfare 2019 games were going to the time limit. Doesn't happen to me on this game. I find the players, and they have to engage me. They can't run and hide the whole time. Also, speaking of running, I think the overall speed of the game is a little bit too slow. I'm not saying it needs to be like crazy like Vanguard, and I think overall move speed wise, it's actually not that bad in terms of like your tactical sprint speed, overall sprint speed, all that shit. But the strafe speeds and the sprint outs and stuff like that do feel a little slow. It feels like there's a lot of times where I just cannot shoot my gun. And since the TTK is so fast, you know, you want to be able to shoot your gun. It's frustrating. MP5 is head and shoulders better than virtually every other gun in the game. There are guns that are good, and because the TTK is fast, basically every gun feels pretty competitive, except that one LMG. It's dog shit. The one super heavy duty LMG was terrible. I tried using all the weapons in the game, came out to basically liking this overkill class the most. Okay, there's no way anyone can make it up here other than this ladder, right? We could just have a nice conversation, realistically. I feel like I'm gonna be seeing a whole lot of this when we spectate Warzone 2, by the way. Oh yeah, you already know we're spectating. We gotta see how the common person reacts to everything. The strafe speeds are just too slow overall. I really feel like because I can't slide cancel and stuff like that, I should be able to move in other means. If there's a way to come up, I want to see how they get up, because I will use this on literally every single building. Surely there's a hop up somewhere. I did hate the fact that I couldn't feel like the progression in the game. There wasn't really any of the weapons that I could level up, and it just really couldn't let me get like a feel for how the progression is supposed to actually feel overall. And I was really hoping to feel that in the game, but it is what it is. We'll wait for full frames and stuff. Optimization, I'm gonna expect the optimization to get a little bit, you know, better, because even in 6v6, I would have more frames in Warzone than I would in the multiplayer of this game, which is kind of crazy considering I have absolutely everything turned down on this shit, and that giant map for Caldera is somehow consistently getting more frames in most areas on the map than I am on certain maps and at certain times on these smaller 6v6 maps. I expected it to run, you know, at least a little better than this. I expected it graphically to be upgraded, right? I didn't expect to get better frames. 140 frames in Ground War alone, we can only play this part of the map. I mean, I can't imagine how Warzone is. Also, remove Last Stand. Don't know why you put it in the game. Do not know what your malfunction is. Every once in a while, you guys try to rear this ugly ass thing back up, and I don't get it. I don't know why. Now, okay, I'm happy that they can't really kill me from Last Stand, but it's still annoying as shit. I didn't say, oh man, he can still kill me in Last Stand. I hate that. No, I hate the fact that when I shoot him in the face with my sniper rifle, he just drops in the Last Stand. Or even if I don't shoot him in the face, shoot him in the chest, whatever, falls in the Last Stand when I should have a kill. I get it. That's the perk. That's why they're running the perk. That should work. And he can't kill me, but why? Why? It's so annoying. Why? Disbanding lobbies, super annoying. They did say that they were gonna look at that. I don't really know exactly how they're gonna make adjustments to it. That's a whole other thing, talking about skill-based matchmaking and everything, which again is still my final point. Skill-based matchmaking is obviously still here. Again, there are a lot of people that do not understand Call of Duty players and their perspective on skill-based matchmaking. Us as a Call of Duty community, we have these power rankings in our head of where we believe we are on the food chain. The issue with this is that this results in people that are absolute dog shit giving opinions like they're not, that are completely misrepresenting actual data. What people that complain about skill-based matchmaking are talking about, a lot of people say, oh, you just want to stomp on noobs all day. It's a combination of things, and I understand you've probably heard this rebuttal a million times, but it's the combination and experience of the lobby staying together, you knowing that you're one of the better players in the lobby, and another guy comes along. It creates storylines and stuff like that. It's a whole thing that you just have to understand that culture. You'd have to be there to really understand how it was. I understand I sound like some old dude just like talking about the good old days and stuff like that. I'm not saying I want like all that crazy over-the-top toxicity and shit like that back. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that sense of community was a thing that got hurt in that process. Truly did have an effect on things. I saw immediately in terms of even the way that people are even interacting on Twitter. I remember how the Call of Duty community was when it was much smaller on Twitter like 8+ years ago. Everything has evolved, and as things evolve, the new people that weren't around for the original things do not understand where we're coming from. If there's going to be a system that ranks people and forces you to play against other people similar to your skill level, I'm not saying playing against people similar to my skill level is a punishment. What I am saying is that since it's consistently happening, it's that why must I do this? Why must I try so hard for absolutely nothing. Playing out an entire match against Optic Gaming, sure, maybe you'll feel rewarded by winning the game, but ultimately you didn't earn anything. There's no rank, there's nothing that you actually gained in that one game. There is no rank to actually represent how good you are, and nobody, notice in the Call of Duty community, nobody talks to each other in terms of ranks. Everybody's always talking about KDs and other stats that can be kinda, you know, irrelevant. In other communities, as soon as you open your mouth and you're somebody that isn't that great, people immediately know it's coming from a perspective of somebody that we know for a fact this is their casual lobby. Ranking isn't there to make fun of people that are low rank, although it does happen. It's a very real thing all the time. It does happen. I get it. People get bullied, which is why they do it this way. That's ultimately the reason why they don't want to add ranked into the game. They don't want people to get scared away. They still want it to feel casual, and they still want people to be able to hide behind things that at least make other players feel good that you can't really argue about. It allows people to build narratives about certain things that are happening in the game that aren't actually happening, and then pointing at all of these obscure stats and shit. If we are going to have to sweat, give me a rank for it. There should be a casual playlist that has little to no skill-based matchmaking. It only has a little bit of skill-based matchmaking in it to protect the lowest of the lowest bracket for, you know, disabled people, things like that. That's a bracket that absolutely deserves to be, you know, protected. Also, even though in-game rank isn't always indicative of you being a better player than somebody else, you can at least get more of a perspective of where the player's coming from, at least, with that information. So the same people that say, oh, all you want to do is just smash people, and that's all you want to do is just collect highlights for gameplays and stuff like that, of course, I do like doing that. But I don't mind a challenge. What I do mind, though, is consistently being challenged with absolutely nothing to show for it whatsoever. Imagine your competitive game, say you played CS. Imagine they just removed your rank. You were global? No, you ain't. You have an overall KD now, and you have a score per minute, and now everybody in the lobby just points fingers at each other. On here on Call of Duty, it's a fucking free-for-all. Nobody even knows who's even good or bad at this point. It's mass hysteria of everybody just being delusional as shit. There are people that literally play the game like 2 hours a week that are talking about how pro players are playing by rule sets that... I'm not even gonna talk about it, man. Skill-based matchmaking, it's a whole other thing. It's not gonna go anywhere. It's fine. I'm not gonna talk about it. I spent a long time trying to fight against it. It is what it is. I dealt with it. I enjoyed the beta, regardless of the skill-based matchmaking and all that stuff, regardless of all my complaints. I enjoyed this game more than Modern Warfare 2019, and definitely was one of my best times I ever had on a beta. I cannot wait for the full game. The Modern Warfare 2 campaign comes out on October 20th. I'm hoping that I'll be able to get a video out on that, and I'm hoping that I'm gonna be able to record at least a few hours, because I'm gonna be busy for a couple days, and I won't be able to be recording, so yeah, we'll see when we get there. Anyway, yeah, thank you guys so much for all the love and support on all the Modern Warfare 2 videos. It's been great, regardless of whether, you know, you were a fan of it or not. Just thank you guys so much for all the love and support, and yeah, it's been Jeff, guys. Later.